You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show podcast on KPEL965.com.
The Fox Business Report is brought to you by Gulf Coast Bank, your local community bank. Whether your financial needs are for an individual, a business, or for the whole family, Gulf Coast Bank has the knowledge and products to serve you best. With 9 convenient locations throughout Acadiana, you're never far from a friendly Gulf Coast Bank associate.
I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Goldman Sachs shares are higher after its profit rose by 58% in the recent quarter, topping expectations. Goldman has been restructuring, getting out of consumer banking, but its business handling wealthy clients has been paying off. Goldman cut 7% of its workforce during the past year. Morgan Stanley reported a mixed quarter, but the stock is higher. The largest Burger King franchise owner, Carrols, is being sold to Burger King's parent company, Restaurant Brands. Carrols operates more than 1,000 Burger Kings in 23 states. There's a sign that manufacturing is slowing. The New York Fed's Business Conditions Index plunged this month to the lowest reading since early in the pandemic. Economists were expecting a decline, but not by this much. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
The Fed's new FedNow system is all about surveillance and control. Secure your assets today with something Washington cannot manipulate. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon, and I recommend diversifying your retirement into a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get a free info kit by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. Do this right now. Text SHELTER to the number 989898 and get a free info kit from Birch Gold. There's no obligation or purchase required.
Message and
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management Studios.
From a victory in Iowa to a courtroom in New York, I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump just arrived a short time ago to face a second defamation lawsuit from author E. Jean Carroll, who was already awarded $5 million, claiming he sexually assaulted her in the 1990s and then damaged her reputation, denying that and calling her a whack job on TV. Well, he posted on Truth Social, it's a fake, sinister case involving a woman he never met that comes right after he won Iowa.
This has been an incredible experience. The people have been, this is the third time we've won, but this is the biggest win.
The former president last night, after getting a record 51%, winning the Iowa Republican caucuses.
So it's now off to New Hampshire, a great place. We won it last time.
The former president will be in New Hampshire tonight after his court appearance with Vivek Ramaswamy by his side.
Now going forward, he will have my full endorsement for the presidency.
Ramaswamy dropped out of the race after finishing fourth in Iowa. Ron DeSantis will campaign in South Carolina and then New Hampshire today after coming in second in Iowa.
The media was against us. They were writing our obituary months ago.
Nikki Haley's already in New Hampshire and this morning tells Fox she's a close second to the former president in the polls there.
70% of Americans don't want to see a Trump-Biden rematch.
Now, as far as the president, he posted online, it's him versus extreme MAGA Republicans. And Vice President Harris told ABC News,
I don't know, but look, if it is Donald Trump, we've beat him before and we'll beat him again.
Now, as far as the U.S. in the Middle East, 2 Navy SEALs are missing after a mission to intercept weapons that were headed to Iran-backed militants in Yemen who've continued to attack ships in and around the Red Sea. And one of the missiles that they shot was shot down by a U.S. fighter jet the other day. America's listening to Fox News.
It's 2024. Do you honestly think the government is looking out for you? Do they have your back? We had political chaos, global wars, no border protection, and our leadership telling you about pronouns and electric cars. It's time to take a hard look at protecting yourself and your family. It's time to visit the Oxford Gold Group. Go to oxfordgoldgroup.com/free and order the investment guide. Oxford Gold Group/free. That's Oxford Gold Group/free. Oxford Gold Group/free.
Progressive presents 10 things on a plumber's to-do list that are harder than getting a small business insurance quote. Waking up for 5 a.m. plumbing disasters, finding out why water is pouring from the ceiling while telling a customer to leave the room, replacing a pipe in a home from the 1800s, then dealing with invoices or your awkward apprentice or that really weird smell, and then there's breathing and eating and, of course, clogs. But the easiest thing on any small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you could save on the business insurance that's right for you. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company covers.
Your drive time is live and local. Hey, folks, it's me, Joe Cunningham, and my show, The Joe Cunningham Show, airs every day from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. You can get it all. News and commentary you can't get from anywhere else on the local, state, and national level, plus your calls and your comments through our KPEL app chat. It's a fun drive home here on the Joe Cunningham Show, News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Hey. ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental disorder that requires a comprehensive approach to treatment. Learn more at moretoadhd.com. This message brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Bikers Against Child Abuse empowers children to not feel afraid of the world in which they live. For more information, visit BACAworld.org. Our helpline is 866-885-9474. BACA, breaking the chains of abuse.
Dino's Pizza is like no other. It's family-owned and operated in the Acadiana area, serving the highest quality pizza on their signature crispy cracker-like crust. Make Dino's part of your family traditions, located at Bertrand and Collie Saloon.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
Hello, welcome, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us on this cool, crispy day. Now, you hear in the background. You hear that? All right. They're talking about windmills and solar panels. That's windmills and solar panels in Texas, how they're not working, how they're not producing hardly anything. About 11% of the demand in Texas, cold as it is. Windmills and solar panels, man, gonna save the world. Thank God. You know, I heard some people, my son last night, they called us and said, hey, we out of electricity. Come on over to the Griffon household. We got a natural gas operated, got a generator. Come on, we warm over here. I just don't understand how people think we're going to live without gas and fossil fuels and generators and all that stuff. Man, this lie of the Green New Deal is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the more money they can get, the bigger lie they will tell. Better get rid of all this. Better get rid of every single bit. All of it, 100% is a lie. Oh, I'm sure, well, I'd use a solar panel. I'm sure some of that stuff briefly may work, but you don't do what they're trying to do right now. You just don't do stuff like that. So anyway, I've been reading story after story after story on the Green New Deal. Okay? Now that, Walker, is not what I want to play. So anyway, great to have you with us. 844-766-6607 is the number. It's a Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management Hotline. Everybody knows it's cold. Everybody knows from the top of the state to the bottom got icy, and some got snow areas. And telling y'all, thank God for natural gas and fossil fuels. Huh? Thank God for gas stoves. You know, I put my thermometer last night on 68. It's pretty much what we leave it on. The house, because it got 18 degrees, and they said this morning it's 4 degrees with the wind chill. So my house never got to 68 degrees. My house last night when I woke up was about 61 or 62. I wasn't turning it up to try to get any more juice out of it. We just left it right there. I made sure I cleaned my filters and things of that nature. But you know what was nice? to be able to get up and put on a fireplace. Now, I got a little gas-operating fireplace. I don't have the wood. That's even better. And you know what else was nice? You could put your stove on. You could put the gas on that to heat the house up. And I thought, wow, this is America. This is great. This is good stuff. And we got people in America don't even want to let you do this. You know? All right. We're online. Make sure, hit that button. Make sure. We good? No, we ought to be good, huh? Okay, no, we good. All right, somebody's having problems at one of the stations. They got two programs at the same time. So anyway, I'm just saying it was nice to have. It was nice to have natural gas. It was so good. If the electricity went out last night, I could turn my natural gas fireplace on, snuggle right there in front of the room, and everybody could stay warm. Couldn't imagine being up the Northeast and all you got is electricity and all you got is electric and all you got is solar panels and windmills. How good did that work last night for you? Folks, this is so wrong what they're doing to the country. The Green New Deal, I know the Advocate and I know these ignorant writers write about this stuff on a daily basis. None of this stuff is true. It's all a lie. Every bit of it. Every bit of it. So I just thought, man, it was nice having natural gas last night. It was nice that I had a generator. If the family had to come over, you had to have friends over. You'd have a house where you can kick on a generator, had natural gas. Electricity line go out. We good. Some people just work off propane and listen to this program in butane and propane and natural gas. Some people, that's all they got. They okay. As all the bright and smart people out of the universities tell us, oh, we need to have electric. How does electric vehicles, how do you charge them puppies up when you're in a disaster like this? I had somebody sent me another one with a windmill, and I forget where it was at right now. I mean, crushed and cratered under the ice. Started a fire. I mean, that's, of course, when I hear stuff like that, I want to cheer. I don't want nobody to get hurt. But if every windmill dies, it'd be the greatest thing happening in the United States of America. This is silliness at the highest level. And when it's cold, I'm telling y'all, we've had the climate czar many times. More people die when it's cold than they do when it's warm. It's just a fact. You can't get warm, you'll die. But let me tell you, if you're all electric, and the grid, oh, by that's the other thing. I read all over the country where the grids, it was tough on the grids to get through when it's real cold like that. And we're going to have cold weather no matter what they do with windmills and carbon capture and none of that stuff. All of it's a lie. We're going to always have thunderstorms. We're going to always have snowstorms. We're going to always be real cold, real hot, droughts. That's weather. It's natural. It's my naked body, which I'm not putting on display. It's natural. All the stuff we're going through is natural. Matter of fact, we need cold weather. I love when cold weather kills mosquitoes, don't you? Cold weather's good. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find this real quick. This is almost hilarious. Somebody sent this to me. This was NBC News. I'm not making this up. NBC News says the real King Kong was killed by climate change more than 215,000 years ago. Was fossil fuels around then? I'm not making this is a Red State article by NBC News. This is actually, I wrote a story on it. But we didn't have fossil fuels. There was no gas. There was no coal. How can this be? The other thing they were running, somebody wrote to me and said that the John George Advocate, the devil's advocate, largest great ape to ever live, was extinct due to climate change. 295,000 years ago. So what caused it? This is what they tell us in the devil's advocate in these newspapers and people around. So anyway, weather's weather. We always going to have cold weather. We always going to have hot weather. There's always going to be some droughts. Always going to be too much rain, flooding, hurricanes. All that is part of living. And people that think they can control that. I keep reading. Somebody wrote on Walt Garlington how people could, man has come up with a way to control a cloud, but that's about it. They can do something with a cloud every now and then, but they cannot do what we're watching and seeing. They cannot affect that at all. They just can't. They can't affect hurricanes. Let me tell you something. The Green New Deal, we didn't have any hurricanes here for the last 2 years. None. I'm surprised Bill Edwards, when he was leaving, didn't take claim. You see, my policies are working already. No hurricanes in 2 years. We hardly had any hit the United States in the last 2 years. Next year's a whole different year. We might pass again. We might not pass. We may pass for 5 years. We may get thumped the next 2 years. Nobody controls that. So when it got cold and you get icy and all that stuff, I know people will kind of freak out a little bit, and I've heard some electricity went out. It was just nice going back, because I remember the old days, even at my dad's house. When you had stuff like this come through, he didn't have a generator. But you can go in the kitchen. He had a fireplace, wood fireplace. You could stalk that wood, keep the wood going all night. You could sleep in a den. They'd get up in the morning, first thing they would do, and you people know this because a lot of you had to do this. What would they do if you lived in a compact, kind of a small home? They would go into the kitchen and put all the burners on in the kitchen to heat the house up and heat up a room. All natural, all good, nothing wrong with that. And Joe Biden and them want to get rid of stoves and gas stoves and stuff like that. I mean, we're crazy. We have lost our minds in this country. It's phenomenal to watch. Anyway, by the way, Bernie Pincenot will join us at 10:06. Bernie ran a poll on the closed primaries. Okay? And so we're going to have him to talk about the poll. There's a big push to knock it down. And Psycho Bill Cassidy and Wrong Way Rick Ward, and they got some weak senators, folks. The problem's going to be in the Senate like it always is. Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, Mike Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. He's against it. Stewart Cathy, Mark Yellowbelly Sapsucker Abraham, Franklin, Connick, Lambert. I don't know about Allen. A lot of these, they don't want it. Why? Because they don't want to run in a closed primary. They do not want to run in a closed primary. They know their voting records would come back and haunt them. But I know the governor wants it. Will the governor get his way on closed primaries? He should. Let's take a break. 844-766-6607 is the number. It's the Matthew James Tax Wealth Management Hotline. We'll be right back. When you're selling your home, one of the most important things you can even consider is, does that person really care about you? You think, they're selling everybody's home. Nicole Spellman Group, they really care about you as a person. They want you to sell your home because you want to be stress-free on this thing. And you can't get there if you don't have somebody you have confidence in. Nicole Spellman takes away the stress of selling your home. You can say goodbye to the guesswork when it comes to selling your home if you go with Nicole Spellman Group. Why? They take the guesswork out of it. They have a system called a home value estimator. It's a game changer for sellers, no doubt about it. If you go to NicoleSpellmanGroup.com, right on the homepage under sellers, click on What's My Home Value? Enter your address and find out what your home is worth in 30 seconds. That's the value of using Nicole Spellman Group. That's why I trust the number one team serving the entire state of Louisiana, the Nicole Spellman Group, to sell my home. Go online, NicoleSpellmanGroup.com, or just Google Nicole Spellman Group. When you think about how you'll spend your money in retirement, what comes to mind? Probably travel, sunny beaches, and spoiling your grandchildren. But a recent survey found that over 30% of every dollar a retiree spends goes to taxes. Baby boomers were told for years to save money in their IRAs and 401ks and pay taxes later. Well, now that day has arrived, and boomers are shocked to see a third of their money going back to Uncle Sam. John Blanchard and the Matthew James Financial Group can help. What if you could protect all or most of your retirement wealth from future tax rate increases? Achieve a zero or near zero effective tax rate for most of your retirement years. Find out more. 337-366-8366. Isn't it time you got a second opinion on your wealth and retirement outlook? Learn how you could potentially kick the IRS out of your IRA. 337-366-8366 and online at MatthewJames.com.
We
Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Matthew James, Tax and Wealth Management Hotline. You know, I've been telling y'all, you got to do big steps. We got to do gigantic steps to get better. Term limits would be one of them. I'm watching right now. I'm watching Republicans whimper out. Same people that usually whimper out. I got a text from somebody that said Jeff Landry was on Ted Dumas this morning. He was worried about the Senate concerning closed primaries. Yep, and I just gave you a bunch of names of people that I'm telling y'all, folks, these people want to be able to vote like they vote, do what they want to do, go back and tell their constituents whatever they want to tell them, and whether they're true or not. But let me give you an example of some stuff that you're going to hear, just one, and this is almost laughable. So Larry Bagley up in the Shreveport area, Mr. Bagley is a fraud squad member. He voted for Clay Shakespeare. So Larry Bagley voted for that horrendous budget we had last year, the one where we spent all this money. Horrible budget. Everybody remembers that. That wasn't too long ago. Okay? So Larry Bagley, according to Melinda Dassler, Representative Larry Bagley said he's concerned about passing a budget bill without knowing the true cost of the closed primaries. I got to sell it back home, and we spent this money on election. Larry, go home and do what you normally do. Just lie. You didn't care about spending $50-something billion of budget just a few months ago. You didn't care about that last year. So that's what they do. So if anybody wants me to debate Larry Bagley in front of as many people as we can get, I'll come debate Mr. Bagley, because I'm not going to have to. People don't know what he's talking about. He knows you don't know what you're talking about, so that's why he tells you anything. That's why Larry Bagley can go back home and say anything, because most people don't follow this. Larry Bagley was one of the many elected officials that voted for a horrendous budget. They had to go back and figure out what was in the budget after they voted for it. Larry Bagley. But Larry Bagley is all concerned now. That's what I laugh at Psycho Bill Cassidy. He's out there running his mouth about money. He's voted for $1.3 trillion in infrastructure bill. I mean, Bill Cassidy worried about spending money is a joke. They got to come up with an angle. So Larry Bagley's going to go tell his people, well, the bill has just been filed. There will be a money amount attached to it. But why should we care about a few million when Mr. Bagley blew $50 billion? This is what they do. So they go back home and they go, these people don't know what I'm talking about. I just tell them this. Well, I wasn't going to do that. I didn't know what the price was. And over election, and then they start saying, well, we could fix roads. How long has Bagley been there? How many roads has Bagley fixed? We're going to fix insurance. Did Larry Bagley lead the charge for fixing roads? Did Larry Bagley lead the charge for fixing insurance? Did Larry Bagley lead the charge for stopping our migration? Did Larry Bagley lead the charge for jobs? Has he led the charge? He's led the charge for nothing when it comes to money and finances. But old Larry, I got to worry about how much this is going to cost. BS. This is a bunch of bunk. This is a guy that voted with the fraud squad. He voted with the fraud squad. He voted for all his bad spending. He voted for stuff he didn't even know what he was voting for. But all of a sudden, when it comes to Larry Bagley, let's just be blunt, in a straight-up race with a real conservative Republican, Larry Bagley gets beat. Larry Bagley gets beat. So if he wants to run for something else, and I'm sure he does, Larry Bagley wants to run for something else, he don't want to run in a closed primary. And I'm going to make the prediction I told y'all when it's all this started. We're going to hear if they pass anything to do with closed primaries, it's going to end up being, you ready? A step in the right direction. It's going to end up being, well, we'll pass it on Congress only so we can say we got a victory. You heard it here first, but I told y'all this last time. When you're dealing with the Larry Bagley fraud squad Republicans, and you're dealing with Mike Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, and you're dealing with Yellow Belly Sapsucker Abraham, and you're dealing with the Stuart Cathys, and you're dealing with the Cleo Fields and the bogus con job Boye, you're not going to get nothing. You're going to get crap. You're going to get watered down, step in the right direction, BS. That's all you're going to get with certain people. These people are not going to help Jeff get the agenda through. So that's back. Oh, I don't know how much it costs. He didn't care about voting for a $52 billion budget. He didn't care where it went as long as he got his projects. I'd debate Bagley anywhere. I'm not even, a person like him wouldn't bother me. There's people I wouldn't debate, but he's one of them I would. Because what does he do? Let's go debate in front of his constituents of what his real vote record is. Bagley is closer to Psycho Bill Cassidy and Jay Darden than he is some conservative. So when they start telling you, oh, we got to look at the price, I don't know what it costs. Larry, you didn't know what the budget was. You voted for a budget. You didn't know what was in it. And it was $50 billion, and you worried about a few million? All of a sudden, it's amazing how they use stuff. All of a sudden, when they don't have an argument, they go to stupid things like, well, I worried what it costs. Name elected officials who ever worried about how much something costs. Somebody, please help me. Name one that ever worried about something, how much it cost. They don't. It ain't their money. We got to take a break. We'll be back. By the way, Scott McKay will join us with all this stuff going on. We'll talk to him with the Hayride. Bernie Pinson at the top of the hour. We'll be right back. Hey, folks, my friend at Schumacher Homes dedicated to making sure the custom home building is within reach for everyone. Your custom-built home. And Schumacher Homes does a great job of building custom homes. They're going to provide you with a dedicated team of specialists who give you choices and tools necessary to create your home and your dream home. The new year is a perfect time, right now, perfect time to take the first steps toward realizing your dream home. Schedule your free, no-obligation design and pricing meeting today by calling or visiting SchumacherHomes.com, SchumacherHomes.com, celebrating over 3 decades of crafting affordable custom homes. Schumacher Homes has always made it their goal to make the home building journey enjoyable, simple, and hassle-free. They're going to provide a devoted team to build your home. They're going to keep you up to date. Any tricks in the armor, they're going to come right to you and say, hey, we got a problem, we got a situation. Schumacher Homes will make it like you want it. SchumacherHomes.com, and let the professionals give you a free, no-obligation design and pricing meeting right now. We all use technology to make our lives simpler, but you may be losing a human touch with your customers. If your business telephone system is antiquated or you're near the end of a contract with your internet and phone service provider, it's time to contact Line 1 about their hosted phone service. They can set up with the technology tools to create a more personal relationship with your customers utilizing their state-of-the-art cloud-based telephone system. Line 1 has user-friendly phones, web meetings, video conferencing, and can integrate your smartphones with your office phone system. Imagine your smartphone integrated with your business phone system. With the Line 1 app, your office will have the ability to transfer calls directly to your smartphone. And when you make a call from the app, it will display the call ID of your business, not your cell number. Your Line 1 system will be intimately configured for your business needs. Check us out at Line.1. Line.1. It's time to talk to the professionals. Learn more about the technology with a human touch. Go to Line.1 and tell them Moon sent you.
This hour brought to you by Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management. Online at MatthewJames.com.
Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. You know, Scott McKay, somebody called him and tell him he's supposed to be on air. I can't dog him. He's not an elected official, but we're expecting Scott McKay. All right. I just got this in. This is tweeted out by the Twit. Louisiana House Appropriations Committee approved $13 million for closed primaries and April statewide ballot on Republican who objected to the high cost. Representative Larry Bagley. Oh, Bagley, who voted with the fraud squad, who voted for a budget he didn't know what was in it, and Bagley said, I can't vote for that. I don't know how much. Now we know how much it is, and he's worried about money all of a sudden? Bagley? He never worried about it before. We're joined by the hayride, Scott McKay. Scott, what's going on?
Well, you know, I'm just enjoying this 20-degree weather, you know. It's kind of northern blue state weather to go with our sort of kind of northern blue state legislature at times.
Yeah. By the way, we look blue all the time, don't we? And we look blue really quick.
Well, you know, I mean, they tell us we're going to enjoy a whole lot of what's happening, and I'm looking forward to that. I haven't really enjoyed that much so far. You know, Scott, I'm like, well, where is it?
Scott,
you know, I want my Christmas present.
I might be wrong, and I'm gonna let you correct me, okay? Because I've been wrong before. I just don't remember last time I was wrong. But anyway, so if you win and your base gives you 2/3 of the House, 2/3 in the Senate majority, supermajority, the first thing you do should A, do something for your base. B, do something that pisses your base off. C, screw your base and go with the Democrats and Cleo Fields. and Regina Barrow. And I'm going, what? And you are too, by the way. I hadn't even talked to you. We hadn't texted, emailed, but you got to be losing it like me. I just can't help myself.
Well, okay, so I understand that there are things that will go on behind the scenes that make some of this stuff make sense, okay? Like, you know, for example, when Cedric Richmond got a spot on the Superdome board, that's clearly the product of some, you know, deal that's been made. And I can come up with a scenario where I'm okay with something like that. Like, for example, you know, Cedric Richmond is still a big poobah within the Biden administration orbit. And let's say you wanted to redo how you're going to do Medicaid in Louisiana, and you need a waiver from the administration to make that happen. Like Cedric Richmond could do that for you. So you give him a spot on the Superdome board, and it makes sense. Like, I could see something like, I'm not saying that's what's happening. I could see something like that and go, yeah, okay, if that's what it takes, then do it, right? Problem is, I don't know what that is. And so when I see Cedric Richmond, I'm like, oh, like, who made that call, right? So, and then there's the Cleo Fields Senate Governmental Affairs Committee chairmanship. When we know that Cleo Fields is going to run for Congress, right? Like, we know that that's going to happen. So he gets to draw up the district that he gets to run in, which is awfully cool. I don't know of a Republican in the state legislature who has that kind of carte blanche. And I'm sitting there going, well, wait, Cleo Fields must be a Republican now. And it's like, well, no, he's still a Democrat. And I'm going, well, how come Democrats have more power than Republicans and there's no Democrats in the legislature?
Yeah.
These are the kinds of things. And look, I understand you're making deals and hopefully you're going to get somewhere good. The problem is like the first week is all bad optics. And so people like you and me, Moon, we're looking at it and we're like, did we get sold out again?
No, let me stop you.
What do we have to do not to get sold out?
I don't. That was my first reaction, Connor, but I just said, let me back up. And I didn't worry about Landry. I'm worried more about Cameron Henry and DeVilliers, which I never thought DeVilliers should have been in position. I still say Brett Guyman should have been there. Brett Guyman's on a committee so far down the road, he'll never see what the budget is. That's the kind of stuff that, and I'll go back to my opening comment with you. First thing you ought to do is make your base feel really good, but the perception is your base is really mad, and I done ran into them, talked to them, and they're going, what the hell's going on? That's all I'm saying. And you're right. The optics of it is horrendous. They're telling me, be cool, just look at the results. Okay, I'm going to look at the results, but you got still a bunch of pansy, weak, yellow Republicans in the Senate, which can hurt you, and some in the House. I'm just saying from my perspective.
Well, and I agree. And what I will say, and we have a piece at the Hayride this morning that Clay Higgins wrote talking about how we need to get party primaries done. I know Governor Landry is a big proponent of party primaries. They're apparently going to calibrate the bill to make it as palatable as possible for some of these people, in that they're going to strip the local elections out. And as a proponent of the party primaries, I'm okay with that. Okay, because that's kind of a big fight for a small prize to do these local elections. It's important to do it legislature and up. And if we could, get the rest later, then fine. I'm okay with all of that. They had better pass the party primary piece in this little special session they're doing.
Well, let me just tell you about that.
Because if they don't, and all you're doing is redrawing a congressional map so that Cleo Fields can be a congressman,
that ain't good.
That's really not going to sell.
You're right on the money, Scott. You're right on, but the word I get is, and this is what bothers me, and me and you've been around watching this for a while, I hate the words step in the right direction. I see term limits. Term limits.
Yeah.
Shit, I keep saying it. I see closed primaries, watered down version coming. I don't care about the local municipalities. I want the federal and the statewide and the Senate and the House.
Legislature.
If you do that,
right.
I think it's a big win. I think you're going to have legislators want to water that down.
Let's not forget PSC and Bessie too. Those need to be party primaries as well, because you can do an awful lot of damage as a rhino on the PSC.
Mm-hmm.
Without naming names, we're seeing that right now. Okay, so we need party primaries on those races as well. But that's what I care about. I do not want to see that watered down any more than that. And I absolutely don't want to see, we had to pull the bill because we just can't get a consensus for it. To me, I'm looking like, all right, I want to know why when Dustin Miller and Cleo Fields and some of these other Democrats that get committee chairs, I want to know why the Black Caucus, who benefits from a closed party primary system, I want to know why the Black Caucus is not lining up 100% behind closed party primaries. You're getting a Supreme Court district. You're getting a congressional district. As far as I'm concerned, these people ought to be absolutely under contract to vote for this thing. Yeah. They get to take over the Democrat Party from the John Bel Edwardses and the Katie Bernhardts. Why would they not be for it? I want every single member of the Black Caucus to vote for closed party primaries, or else nothing else should pass in that legislative session. Yeah. That's my point.
Yeah.
Because what we have not done, this is like as a Republican Party, and particularly as a state of Louisiana, we have not imposed conditions on Democrats that we continue to beat the hell out of in elections. These people should be made to kiss the ring. They're less than a third of the state legislature at this point. Okay, and yet they're still getting committee chairmanships and vice chairmanships and all this kind of stuff. What's the price for that? Are we just paying tribute to these people? Because to me, it's like if you're going to get a committee chairmanship or a vice chairmanship, then you are obligated to vote with the leadership whenever the leadership comes to you and says, we require your vote, which means there should be no question but that the closed party primary piece is going to pass.
No.
And you know what? It may very well pass, Moon. It may very well pass. I'm saying this as a hypothetical academic matter rather than making a prediction of what's going to happen.
Yeah, let me take a break. Scott McKay to Hayride. Scott, you're seeing a lot of things like I am, and I'm trying to be patient. I mean, I knew we weren't going to set the world on fire, but the optics at the beginning ain't pretty. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Scott McKay, my special guest. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. From the humbling beginning, Dino Hardwoods is striving to provide superior service and quality products for their customers. Hey, I know Charles Altman. He does a great job. If you're looking for lumber, Dino Hardwood stocks a large selection of domestic and import hardwood lumber and cypress. You ought to see their stuff. Exotic lumber, they got that as well. Trust in Dino Hardwoods when it comes to your exotic lumber needs right now. Molding, plywood, paint, and L products, they are ready for you. They got 3 great locations. The corporate office is right here in Broussard, Louisiana. There's an office in Shreveport on 2801 Valley View Drive and one in Tyler, Texas. 12492 Highway 155 North. Hey, if you're looking for something different and something new and somebody who will service you, it's Dino Hardwoods. I'm telling you, don't forget Dino Hardwoods. DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com. Great locations. They can service you. They can deliver. DinoHardwoods.com. Check out this great Louisiana company. Oh, man, I love me some Superior Grill. Superior Grill, the best Mexican food in the state of Louisiana, bar none, baby. They are the best, and you're going to love them, too. They got great drinks and food, and the atmosphere is second to none. They know what they're doing. They know how to serve. Hey, folks, you do know they cater. They do cater. Superior Grill, located in New Orleans, Shreveport, and Baton Rouge, Lafayette right around the corner. You're going to love Superior Grill. You're going to love the atmosphere. You're going to love the taste. They can handle anything you got. Folks, they got happy hours. They really serve the people. And you're going to love Superior Grill. I love it. You're going to love it. I cannot wait to go to Superior Grill. I've been going to Superior Grill now for 29 years. Let me tell you, I know all about Superior Grill. When I want good Mexican food, I'm going to Superior Grill. I want to see you there. We're going to have a blast. When you think about how... Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607 is the number if you'd like to be part of the program. Scott McKay from the Hayride, my special guest. Scott, I don't think they can come out of this session without having closed primaries. But, you know, Psycho Bill Cassidy and the rest of them out there, and they're talking about what's funny is Cassidy is talking about how much money. The bill hadn't been written. It's written now. Hadn't even been written. Wasn't giving any money toward it, but they were talking about $90 million. And they selling this to people. Cassidy voted for a $1.3 trillion infrastructure package. And he's worried about the budget?
Okay, let me just say, I think $90 million is an idiotic, stupid number. I mean, unless you're talking about over the course of, you know, the next 10 or 20 years or something, $90 million.
Over 10 years. 10 years.
That's, you know, the last time we were going through this, they said it was $6 million a year. Now it's $9, okay? Which maybe that's true, and that should tell you a little something about inflation, which is what you get when you vote for, you know, budgetarily the way these guys do. So maybe there's that. But let me just say this. If it's $90 million, that's the best $90 million you can spend.
Yep.
Okay? Electing the right people all right, is the best money you can spend in government because it's the only hope you have for these people not to steal you blind. And so I don't give a damn if it's $90 million. The state budget is $50 billion.
Yep.
Okay? So, like, all of a sudden the rhinos are fiscally responsible. Where were you when it was time to hold to the constitutional budget caps? Okay? Because the 19 people that were the only ones that had the stones to stick to their guns on that, all of them are for closed party primaries.
Yep.
Okay? So where were these fiscal conservatives who wanted to go put, new band uniforms on the band at Southern or build, community centers for Democrats back home in their district or some of these other, dog parks and all these other things that they couldn't wait to get their grubby fingers on the budget surplus and spend that. And now they want to talk about the cost of running elections that people might actually care about. You just had, and I mean, we just went a month or more with all these people whining about the low turnout on these elections and how nobody cares and it's so terrible and all that. Fine, fix the election system so people get involved. If you're a Republican, you really care who wins the Republican primary, and then you've got a party-based general election that people would jump on. There was a poll that got put out yesterday. 60% of the people of Louisiana are for doing state elections the same way the presidential primary is done, which means closed party primary.
By the way, I got
60%.
I got Bernie Pinson to talk about the poll when you get finished. So this is the perfect time. Let me give you an example of a person that you were talking about. Larry Bagley, Representative Bagley, is a fraud squad member. Clay Shake's not a sycophant. Helped pass the $50-something billion budget. This was his quote. Quote, Larry Bagley says he's concerned about passing a budget bill without knowing the cost of a closed primary. It's got to sell it back. I got to sell it back home, how we spend the money. Well, my God, when he went back and voted for a $50 billion budget, he didn't go back home and explain everything because he couldn't, because nobody knew what was in the budget. That's the kind of person Larry Bagley is. That's what he's doing.
Well, that's right. And of course, here's Bill Cassidy who runs around. And Bill Cassidy is for one thing, and one thing only, and that is he's trying to make sure that he doesn't get blown out of office in 2026 as recompense for the betrayal of the voters that he fleeced into putting him back into the Senate in 2020. Because if you'll remember, he ran as the Trumpiest Trump who ever trumped.
Yep.
And not 6 weeks later, he's voting to impeach Trump because of the January 6th thing, which we now know was as fraudulent as everything else Bill Cassidy's been involved in. And so now he's going to talk about how important it is that we keep a jungle primary so that he doesn't get run off by, Higgins or Eric Skermet or Alan Seabaugh or whoever might run against him in 2026 and blow him out in a Republican primary. That he wants to be the Democrats' favorite Republican in a jungle and try to save himself that way. We should have absolutely zero input from Bill Cassidy on party primaries.
Well, just the fact that he's for the jungle primary ought to tell people it's wrong. Number two, the people in the Senate and the House, Bagley, Rick Ward. He's always going the wrong way. He's a leftist Democrat. He might Republican. He probably wants to run for something. All these Republicans know they may want to run up the road. They don't want to face their constituents as Republicans. They know good and well their voting record and things that come up are going to hurt them. They know it. But Psycho Bill is the worst by far. No doubt about it.
Well, and the thing of it is, if the jungle primary was such a great idea, how come practically nobody else in the country operates elections that way?
Yep.
Like, we're so much politically, in public policy, we are so much smarter than the rest of America that we get to do things differently, and yet we're 50th in everything.
Yeah, but that is
this
the
a
point.
level of hubris that's very hard to justify.
No,
in my opinion.
we talked about it yesterday. We don't all follow Texas or these other states on any of this stuff dealing with closed primaries. We don't follow them from the economic standpoint. We don't follow them how to fix roads. We don't follow them how to have lowered insurance rate. We don't follow them in anything, and our kids leave and go to these places. It doesn't make any sense. But, Scott, I'm going to say this and let you comment. I think that for Jeff and the legislature to be successful, there are some things we have to have some big chunks. We got to take some big steps. If we're not going to make this one of them, we're not going to make any of them big steps. This is a big step in the right direction. This is running in the right direction. This is not taking a step in the right direction. So if we can't do this, I don't know what we can do.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. Any Republican in that legislature who defies this governor and the will of the voters, all right, should be regarded the same way that Bill Cassidy is regarded by Republicans in Louisiana. Forever, irredeemably seen as a traitor to the cause. Okay, we should tolerate absolutely no deviation from the standard party line on this, because the voters want it. They elected people who promised to make it happen. Okay, particularly the governor. And if we're going to start off the first special session of this with no party primary thing passed that Landry specifically said was important in his speech yesterday, and then you're going to give away Supreme Court and congressional districts and go 0 for 3 on conservative priorities.
Yep.
I don't think any of these people should be allowed to go home to their districts.
Yeah. Well,
I think they should be. I think they should be stick them in the Pentagon barracks and keep them there. You're not allowed to come home.
All right, Scott, got to run. Thank you. Always a pleasure, man. We'll do it again soon. Bernie Pincinat coming up next with his new poll. Thank you, Scott. We got to go. We'll be right back.
Closed primary elections, they work. Governor Jeff Landry, U.S. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, State Treasurer John Fleming, all first elected to Congress under tested closed primaries. And President Donald Trump, elected in a closed primary, because all Louisiana presidential primaries have been closed for decades. It makes sense. Democrats shouldn't pick the Republican nominee. Liberals and Democrats should pick the Democratic nominee. Then all voters choose who wins on a final, simpler, shorter ballot. That's how states like Florida, the #1 U.S. economy, do it, because jungle primaries can lead to confusion and division before a final vote. Governor Jeff Landry is now proposing closed primaries. Go to legis.la.gov and click Who Are My Legislators to contact your Louisiana House and Senate members and ask that they support Governor Jeff Landry's closed primary bill. Liberal Democrats should not pick Republican nominees. Paid for by Protect Louisiana Values.
Court-appointed special advocates, or CASA, are specially trained volunteers that help secure safe homes for abused and neglected children. Don't let these innocent victims slip through the cracks of our complicated legal system. Get involved today. Call CASA at 268-5111. This nonprofit organization moment brought to you by News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Your drive time is live and local. Hey, folks, it's me, Joe Cunningham, and my show, The Joe Cunningham Show, airs every day from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. You can get it all. News and commentary you can't get from anywhere else on the local, state, and national level, plus your calls and your comments through our KPEL app chat It's a fun drive home here on the Joe Cunningham Show, News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you on this very cold day. Should be cold today and tomorrow, at least tonight and in the morning. But hopefully we get, just like weather does, it comes and goes. It always has since time has begun. And that's never going to change. All righty. Let's go to my friend, Mr. Bernie Pincinat, who's been involved in politics his whole life just about. He's also a pollster. And he's been a pollster for a long time. He's seen this stuff in and out, up and down for a long time. Bernie, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Except that people send me pictures of snow. I don't like cold weather. I don't like snow. Don't send me pictures of snow and tell me how beautiful it is.
No, I tell you, Bernie, people that live in that can say that, but I don't live in that world. And I don't care about ever being in that world. And I think you like me. It looks good, it looks fun, but I don't want no part of it.
No, I have no interest in being around or living in a house that's surrounded by snow, and I got to dig my way out to get to my driveway.
I've never had to do that, but I don't know if I want to. I'd rather it be hot. It don't bother me. I can cool down, but the other way is harder. All right, Bernie. So. One of Jeff's, Governor Landry's big deal is closed primaries. And if you really go around, I'm not going to say all, but most of the people that ran and won were for closed primaries. But now it's time. We're governing now. We're not running for elections. So you recently ran a poll. I had one run with someone else, and I'll let you talk about it and kind of give us the details of what you found out about how people filled out about closed primaries.
Well, one of the issues in the special session, which relates to and ties into, which was the reapportionment that the legislature is being forced to readdress because of a federal judge in Shreveport has said that they is demanding that they recreate a congressional district that allows or actually favors a Democrat to be elected to represent the 32% of the registered voters in Louisiana, which happen to be Black Democrats. So along with that, the governor included closed primaries. And his PR guy, Brent Littlefield, asked myself and Greg Rigamer to conduct a survey and find out what voters thought about going from an open primary to a closed primary. So that was what our task was. We conducted a survey last weekend and completed it, I think, Saturday night. Worked on it, and it was given out primarily to the House members, I think, yesterday, and the results are interesting. Remember, when I talk to people, and they talk about our primary system, but it's not the normal primary system. Vast majority of the United States has more of a closed primary system, so we're unique. The national media refers to it as a jungle primary, which, to me, the connotation is not good. We don't survive in jungles. We don't live there. And so it's referred to, in my opinion, in a negative manner. But when you start talking about it, you will find that you have a lot of emotion, not from the voters, but from politicians, elected officials, and of course the media. We didn't find that a lot of people in Louisiana even think about this or have a lot of interest in it. A majority of voters in Louisiana believe that it would be good to simplify elections in November by having one Democrat, one Republican, and a potential other candidates. That's what we have. That's what we have in the presidential primary. So why don't we do it in the rest of the elections, more in line with the rest of the country? But it runs into not so much the practicality of what do we do versus other states. It's there again. You're finding that elected officials, and they have every right to, but the ones who don't fit in with how they're registered versus how their own Republican voters feel, you'll see them being opposed to this.
No doubt about it. But so your numbers are showing, they had a recent poll that showed the opposite. And, of course, the devil's advocate in the media loves playing those polls. And then people like Psycho Bill Cassidy and Rick Warder running around showing this poll, and most people don't believe in this. But I think what they're trying to do, Bernie, is just confuse people. It's as simple as you said. If you vote Republican and Democrat in the presidential primary that we're going to have in March, then that's all you're going to do is be doing what you do in the presidential primary. That's it. It's that simple. It's really that simple.
Well, the plurality, instead of having a clear winner with majority, other states don't do that. They have you run in your primary how you registered and you win in that, and then the runoff is in November. We have an October, November instead of a spring and November. I don't think the average person in Louisiana really has, they don't sit around the coffee table talking about their wife, this is horrible, this is good, or even people at the water cooler at work. This is primarily, an inside the ballpark fight among politicians, elected officials about what serves them best politically. It's not nobody can sit here and say that the public understands a lot of this stuff. They're being told by the other poll, we feel this is really bad. How do you feel? We did similar, but we also asked, would they like to look like the rest of the country? And 50%. Look, we're not pushing any. Oh, everybody hates it, or I can come up with negative or positive things to say, but 50% said that Louisiana should be more like other states and elect candidates with a plurality rather than a majority vote. 35% did not share this opinion. Well, Bernie's not saying 90% of Louisiana is against this. We're saying that they're 50%. Only 35% have a negative opinion. 70% said that primaries in the spring in general would having primaries in the spring, then the general in the fall would give more time for candidates to understand and whatever. You'll see it in other states. These people get elected from their parties in the spring, the runoffs in the fall, and they get to go across the state and whatever. We jam it up into 1 month. 1 month.
Yeah, and Bernie, let me tell you another big thing that's really good about this. And people need to know, because here comes the confusion again. They made it, Bill Cassidy and all, well, everybody's going to be disenfranchised. No. Once all this is settled, when we do a general election in the fall, everybody gets to vote. If you're a registered voter, you're going to vote. No matter if you're with the Green Party, Independent Party, Republican, Democrat, no party, whatever, you're going to get to vote. You're not missing out on anything.
Well, it's all about the primary vote and what they've done is the open primary has allowed voters to say, okay, I want to be no party. They're really not they're independent. They're no party. But elected officials have geared their how they vote and how they discuss their views on issues based on this primary. So they don't want to go from it because they've put themselves in a position where they need independence or they need Democrats to cross over, vice versa. Well, most what they're not saying is I need crossovers. I need people who are not my party to that's the only way I can win. And they have a point, but you're still a Republican. Why don't you count on Republicans? But if we do that, just saying, if you only count on Republican voters, then we're going to have these extreme candidates on both sides. Well, if the system was different, I can assure you, having managed lots of campaigns and still do, the campaigns gear up and change their approach to that. People run on different whatever. Sure. And by the way, you may have some independents. I want to vote. It's not. I've been told that I won't get to vote, so maybe I need to change. Then you would have some of the people that they think are moderate becoming Republicans and whatever. But it's just a resistance change. I'm not going to say either is right or wrong. I'm saying that don't sit here and tell me that Louisiana, because we do it our way, is the best system. No, we do it uniquely. Everybody else has pay a lot more attention to why we have political parties, and they stick to that. They're not interested in everybody being able to vote any way they want. Then if you do that, why do we have parties?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, but Bernie, don't you think the other side is trying to confuse people? Because that's the way you win, when you confuse people.
Well, look, absolutely. Their point of view is reflected in their survey, and I don't comment on other surveys because I wasn't part in running. But if you're saying that people who are using that survey to use it to promote their point of view, I'll discuss their point of view. Their point of view is I'm doing this for self-protection. That poll is wonderful for me because this is my point of view. It's not necessarily the point of view of the voters, as we find out. Our survey paints another picture of that there is another system out there. Louisiana is fairly unique, whether it's plurality or spring votes and everything else. There's no passion or energy that one way is right or the other. It's just that it depends on your point of view. Yeah. But the majority of people in Louisiana don't have. They're not up in arms about this or that. Now, if you're right, the people who are opposed to it, they're trying to get those people and pointing out the negatives on going to an open primary, and they have every right to do that, but doesn't necessarily mean it's right.
Yeah, let me take a break. Bernie Pincinat, bring you back a few more minutes. Bernie Pincinat on a new poll showing that people would rather have closed primaries to be more like the rest of the country. We'll be right back. Folks, you hear me brag about a new advertisement. South Star Urgent Care is the name you need to know. Listen, you look up, you're in the middle of the night, you're looking, God, where do we go? South Star Urgent Care. They open on weekends, they open at night, they can get you taken care of. If you're sick, if you're feeling bad, maybe you coughing, dehydrated, fever, flu, fractures, South Star Urgent Care wants to service you, and they're going to treat you like you want to be treated. They're going to get you in, get you out. You're not going to sit in a dark waiting room for a bunch of times. South Star Urgent Care. Go to SouthStarMoon.com, SouthStarMoon.com. You can register before you go and set your appointment. Hey, it's really cool. These folks at South Star greet you with a genuine smile and make you feel very comfortable. Folks, you're looking for the perfect urgent care? It's South Star Urgent Care. Go to SouthStarMoon.com, SouthStarMoon.com. South Star Urgent Care. It's the urgent care you need. Go to SouthStarMoon.com, SouthStarMoon.com. Folks, I want to tell you about one of my new advertisers, Adapt Concepts AC Service Repairs. Serving all of Acadiana, surrounding areas, and the Gulf of Mexico for over 6 years. Full-service AC and heating company, repairs, installation, and preventive maintenance, which is very, very important. Installation service, professional quality services, focus on creating value for you. Terms of certified technician, 24/7 customer service, and free consultation. I'm talking Adapt Concepts, AC Service Repairs. You want the professionals, you want the best, this is them. Purchase a qualified high-efficient system for maintenance, plus get a free 12-year parts and labor warranty. Wow, don't you want to know about that? Call them at 337-408-8202. That's 337-408-8202. 8202, or go to the website, adapt-ac.com. That's adapt-ac.com.
Shastall Brave.
Hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. It is the Matthew James Tax Wealth Management Hotline. 844-766-6607 is the number if you'd like to be part of the program. Bernie Pincinette, my special guest. Bernie, my sources this morning, by the way. Oh, we lost him. No, we lost Bernie. You ain't your fault. There he is. He's calling back. You got to re-answer that phone. That's him, though. I'm going to wait till Bernie gets back. We kind of lost. All right, Bernie?
Yes.
Okay, this I'm going to give you my inside scoop this morning, my sources, okay? My sources tell me that in redistricting, the bill's written now. $8 million is what it's going to cost, which is nothing when you're spending 50-something billion. So that number is kind of thrown to the side. And it's less than what Cassidy and them are saying. But here's my sources. The House looks really good for passing term limits. Closed primaries. I always say term limits, closed primaries. But the Senate is the problem. Once again, the Senate could be the problem of killing something, and I hope it's not, but we could have problems in the Senate. And I don't understand why, if these people really want to get an agenda and push it forward.
Well, you look at these people, and it's generally the parish and how they operate or whatever. I mean, I'm Jefferson Parish, and you have Jefferson Parish is sort of different in the New Orleans area. It's not good or bad or indifferent, except where elected officials, where our state reps are, where our state senators are, you can tell the ones that are much more independent. They were elected and they represent. They don't go to Baton Rouge asking permission. Everything they do, from the sheriff to DA, the parish president, they still represent those people, but they're supposed to also represent the state and what's best for everybody. And you see that home cooking approach to being a senator, and whatever they want back home, whether the governor, if the governor wants it, or the rest of the state wants it, and there's a clear, vast majority, you'll see roadblocks thrown up by these state senators, be in this case, who are more concerned about what the local elected officials think of them than what the governor wants or what the majority of the state wants. Pure and simple.
It's just I'm looking at this going, here we go, still a problem in the Senate. I'm sorry. I hope it's not true, but I hope this passes. But that's just, little bits and pieces that I've been able to just put together this morning. And that's why I asked the question, because your poll says we ought to do it. But it's it's always Republicans in the Senate. There's always some Republicans in the Senate that just are not going to do what we have to do.
Well, look, I've seen, I'm not going to names, but I've heard one senator say, "Oh, I'm worried about it. I'm good." And if you look at the senator's district, it ain't even close. I mean, it's overwhelmingly they want closed primaries. They don't want the possibility of two Democrats running in the runoff for governor. They don't want the possibilities of two Republicans. If you're a Democrat, why would you not be able to vote for a Democrat in the primary like we do? Does the United States look? Think about this: if we only had two Democrats running for president, and that was our own choice in Louisiana, would they be outraged? Yeah, well, that's possible in the governor's race.
Yeah,
you don't want to change that, okay? But it's and the other thing is, let me go back to jungle primary. Jungle primary is not a positive. People they look at Louisiana as we're different, and here, they got this goofy system. Mm-hmm. They talk about how nobody knows who's going to win because the system is so different from the rest of the country. Well, that's correct. So the term jungle primary is not a positive reference to our system. It's that we have a whatever you want to call it, a system that is totally different from the rest of the country. So they single us out and say, oh, they got a jungle primary. Well, that's not a positive for Louisiana or the rest of the country when they question or have a name for the way we elect people. Like, you can't, who knows who's going to win? Well, if you stick to parties, which is what the presidential about, we asked, do you think we ought to have a primary system that's more related to the rest of the country and makes parties the primary candidates stick to parties instead of being all over the landscape with these different tags they can have. So,
Bernie, let me cut you only because of time. I got to cut you, but it makes. I wish we had the primaries like them, but I also wish we had economies like them too. Anyway, thanks, Bernie. Appreciate it. We'll do it again soon.
Closed primary elections, they work. Governor Jeff Landry, U.S. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, State Treasurer John Fleming, all first elected to Congress under tested closed primaries. And President Donald Trump, elected in a closed primary because all Louisiana presidential primaries have been closed for decades. It makes sense. Democrats shouldn't pick the Republican nominee. Liberals and Democrats should pick the Democratic nominee. Then all voters choose who wins on a final, simpler, shorter ballot. That's how states like Florida, the #1 U.S. economy, do it, because jungle primaries can lead to confusion and division before a final vote. Governor Jeff Landry is now proposing closed primaries. Go to legis.la.gov and click Who Are My Legislators to contact your Louisiana House and Senate members and ask that they support Governor Jeff Landry's closed primary bill. Liberal Democrats should not pick Republican nominees. Paid for by Protect Louisiana Values.
Oh, Shucks, you've been hearing me brag about Shucks. Been going there for many, many years. Shucks does a great job. If you like seafood, you got to go to Shucks in Abbeville. I'm telling you right now, there's shrimp, there's oysters, there's fish, all fresh every day right off the boat. So if you want something fresh and you want fresh seafood, you got to go to Shucks. Don't forget, if you're having a party, call Shucks. Let them cater the event for you, or you can go pick it up. Shucks, they're waiting on you. If you want a great time and you want great food, you got to go to Shucks in Abbeville. Shucks, oh, they're good.
As parents, we have a lot to be proud of. Our kids are smart, talented, and dedicated, but all of them are at risk. 1 in 3 Louisiana high school students use e-cigarettes, and every day more teens struggle with vape-related problems like nicotine addiction and lung damage. The time to talk to your teen is now, and we can help. Get vaping facts, talking tips, and quitting resources at BehindTheHazeLA.com. Sponsored by the Louisiana Department of Justice.
This is a special.
This hour brought to you by Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management. Online at MatthewJames.com.
Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Matthew James. Tax and Wealth Management Hotline. Your opportunity to be a voice. We'll see what happens with the closed primaries. Once again, the problem could be in the Senate. Well, you got some yellow. I'm talking about yellow senators. And I told you some Mike Reese. Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Old Yellow. Mark Abraham. He's got some in there, folks, that Stuart Cathy. You know, I'm just telling you, they want to make sure they can keep running for office. And they don't want to be beating a Republican primary. That means they actually have to be conservatives. They don't want to be conservatives. They want to be get along, go along, be happy, high five everybody. We'll see if the Senate does their job. Mr. Bill in Coshada. Bill, how you doing, sir?
Good morning. Moon, I was at the Capitol the day that Edwin Edwards announced that he was going to present that bill to the legislature because he said, I had to run 3 races to get where I am. He said, that's foolish. And I agree with him. we got rid of David Duke and Bennett Johnson in this open primary stuff, and I don't see why anybody would want to go back. And it's just that if you get out and work and talk to your people in your area, you get things done.
Well, no,
and,
let me back you up, Mr. Bill. Let me back you up now. Okay. Edwards did that because back then we had a one-party system. Everything was Democrats. Okay? That's why he didn't like that. Okay? If you'd have had two-party system like we have more now, he probably would have been okay with it. But with back then, you had to run and then run again and then run again. But in this case, I just don't think it's going to be like that a whole lot. And plus, when you do it, you do this closed primary is going to be in the spring. You're going to run an election one time, no runoff. Winner take all. So I disagree. Edwards always did stuff to help Edwards. It was never about anybody else but Edwin Edwards. He didn't want to run three times.
Well,
because it was only Democrats back then.
Moon, if you remember, Treen got elected. He was the first Republican to be elected in 127 years in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got elected because Edwin Edwards couldn't run anymore. He got term limited. Treen wouldn't have won had Edwards had another term.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, Mr. Bill, look, I'm not cutting somebody that wants to keep the open primary, jungle primary system. I just think that when we get down to it, we're now a state where we can have a closed primary because most of the other states are doing either a closed or somewhat of a closed primary. But we don't want to imitate any state in anything. Economy, jobs, insurance. We don't want to imitate them at all in anything. So
I have to give credit to George Despot out of Shreveport for getting the Republican Party out of the phone booth, and he was for the open primaries. And George said, and I talked with him several times about it, and he supported it, and that's what got the Republicans out of the phone booth.
I can tell you right now, I don't think that did, but I can tell you right now, people like Bill Cassidy, they want no part of a closed primary. These fake Republicans who keep winning, who keep winning, can keep wanting to be Republicans, keep claiming they're conservatives. They're in big trouble with a closed primary. We're going to find out all the fake Republicans in the closed primary. We're going to find out every one of them. Now, there's still going to be some fake Republicans win because I'm looking all over the country and you got them out there. So I don't think it's, by the way, Mr. Bill, I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's a lot better than than what we have now. I just do. And I hope we get a chance to see.
It looks like we're going to go back to it because people don't remember it, and that's the problem. That's the way with history. If you don't study history, you repeat it.
Yeah, well,
and so we're about to repeat them. We're about to repeat a mistake, I think. But
I appreciate your opinion. I just say there's opinions out there, but I always notice the side that's selling, your side is selling on it's going to cost so much money, and people are going to be confused. And when I start watching arguments like that, Mr. Bill, I watch who's making arguments. Psycho Bill Cassidy. So I always watch all that as well, and I go, why are they scared of them? I wouldn't be scared. If I was a conservative Republican, closed primaries I would welcome with open arms. If I was more middle of the road, mushy, or open primaries is what I'd want.
Well, nationally, we are about to see this thing repeated up there in New Hampshire because all the Democrats are going to vote for that woman just to push her ahead of that Florida governor. So I don't know. It's the system's not perfect, but it's better than anything else in the world right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
America's still better than everybody in the rest of the world. But, man, I know you older than me. You worried about what's going on just like I am.
Yeah, I appreciate you letting me on this morning. Thanks for it. And you do pretty good work most of the time.
Thank you, Mr. Bill. I say, hey, if you agree with me 100%, I would be worried about you.
Okay.
I'd be worried about you big time
you.
if you're worried about me. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Oh, man. Well, I'm like I said, there are some people going to want to do this. I'm more worried about the elected officials and what they're going to do with it. We'll see. Like I said, I think we can pass it. But you got the fakes, some of the fake Republicans, conservatives like Mark Abraham and them in the Senate. These guys are weak. They're weak on a great day. They're weak on, they right on social issues. It comes to economics and cutting deals. And that's what I'm saying, making a point that it's going to cost more money. They're saying that because they have no arguments. Now, Mr. Bill Bill from Conchata, Mr. Bill can make his argument and why better than elected officials. Better than elected officials, that gentleman right there. Way better than listen to Psycho Bill and Rick Wrong Way Ward. I mean, he's the wrong way. He's always been the wrong way. Folks, why would a conservative, you're really conservative, and everybody says they're conservative. Larry Bagley says he's a conservative. Why are you scared of this? And don't say because of the money. Bagley voted for a $50 billion budget, and nobody knew what was in it. He's worried about $8 million. By the way, the note on this thing's about $8 million. Okay? Yeah, that's another thing. Democrats, if they want to switch over to Republican vote, they will. Just don't think they're going to ever be able to do that in numbers. And by the way, the Democrat will switch over to the Republican, like Mr. Bill mentioned up north. They do that to vote for who? The most liberal Republican, Mr. Bill. The Democrats and independents that go vote the Republicans, they're not voting for the Donald Trumps. They're voting for the most liberal Republican they could find. They're not voting for nobody is switching. Find this too. Nobody switches from Democrat to Republican to vote in the closed primaries to vote for the conservative. They're getting in there to vote for the most liberal, leftist, Looney Tune Republican they can. That's what they're doing. We got to take another break. 844-766-6607. When we get back, Chicago area Tesla charging station lined with dead cars in freezing cold. Oh, yeah, folks. Get your electric car when you're in trouble. You imagine a hurricane coming in? How many cars will be strung out on the interstate? That story and more when we get back. Folks, I want to tell you about one of my new advertisers, Adapt Concepts AC Service Repairs. Serving all of Acadiana, surrounding areas, and the Gulf of Mexico for over 6 years. Full-service AC and heating company, repairs, installation, and preventive maintenance, which is very, very important. Installation service, professional quality services, focus on creating value for you. Terms of certified technician, 24/7 customer service, and free consultation. I'm talking Adapt Concepts. AC Service Repairs. You want the professionals, you want the best, this is them. Purchase a qualified high-efficient system for maintenance, plus get a free 12-year parts and labor warranty. Wow, don't you want to know about that? Call them at 337-408-8202. That's 337-408-8202. Or go to the website, adapt-ac.com. That's adapt-ac.com. Folks, you hear me brag about a new advertisement. South Star Urgent Care is the name you need to know. Listen, you look up, you're in the middle of the night, you're looking, God, where do we go? South Star Urgent Care. They open on weekends, they open at night, they can get you taken care of. If you're sick, if you're feeling bad, maybe you coughing, dehydrated, fever, flu, fractures, South Star Urgent Care wants to service you, and they're going to treat you like you want to be treated. They're going to get you in, get you out. You're not going to sit in a dark waiting room for a bunch of times. South Star Urgent Care. Go to SouthStarMoon.com, SouthStarMoon.com. You can register before you go and set your appointment. Hey, it's really cool. These folks at South Star greet you with a genuine smile and make you feel very comfortable. Folks, you're looking for the perfect urgent care? It's South Star Urgent Care. Go to SouthStarMoon.com, SouthStarMoon.com. South Star Urgent Care. It's the urgent care you need. Go to SouthStarMoon.com, SouthStarMoon.com.
Prescriptions required.
Like it all, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Matthew James, Tax Wealth Management Hotline. Clay Higgins, closed primaries, needed in Louisiana. Congressman Clay Higgins. By the way, the word is, and I'm just telling you what I hear now, that Clay Higgins might want to look at that Senate seat that Psycho Bill's in. You know? I don't know if that's true or not. And Psycho Bill don't want it because Psycho Bill don't want nobody wrong. Psycho Bill Cassidy gets smoked in a closed primaries. Well, he don't really get smoked. That means he doesn't run. But you know, Psycho Bill can do what I think he is, show his true colors. My suggestion, if we get closed primaries to Psycho Bill Cassidy, run as a Democrat. You like Biden and Obama and them better than you do Trump, run as a Democrat. People, when they see Cassidy, ought to start saying, hey, Bill, run as a Democrat. They ought to start encouraging Cassidy to run as a Democrat, to become a Democrat, to become a Joe Biden and Obama type guy. That's what people ought to. Look, he's from Illinois. He's almost like an Illinois senator instead of a Louisiana one. Run as a Democrat. It's okay. I encouraging him. Won't say nothing negative about the dude changing to a Democrat because I feel like he'll be going home. He'll be going home. He'll go where he really deserves. That is to be a Democrat. So Higgins has come out. I think Mike Johnson has come out for it. Steve Scalise. Not Garrett Gray. Oh, Garrett Graves don't want closed primaries. Boy, by the way, Garrett's stepping up because if looking at the redistricting map, Graves may be the odd man out. Now Graves is going to get involved. Why? Because it's about Graves. Graves wants a congressional district. Still left Chicago area Tesla charging station, lined with dead cars, trying to charge their cars in this cold, and they just sit. I'll get to that in a minute. Let's go to Paul in Bossier. What's up, Mr. Paul?
You know, it's the irony is we've been trying to get, election reform in Louisiana done for years about all these elections that these politicians and these taxing authorities can call. Every time the wind blows, them cats are calling a special election, especially when they got a tax vote, when they want to pass one. They don't mind holding all kind of elections when they're trying to sneak one of them little tax bills through. So, that. And
by the way, Paul, to make your point, did any of them say, well, we worried about the cost? None of them.
I wish they were more worried about all the other costs before this. I mean, like you said, $50-something billion budget's doubled. And basically what this is about is the reason they want us to keep the closed primary, the jungle primary, it's an Incumbent Protection Act. I mean, these people got a lot invested in these positions, and there's a lot of money involved when you're throwing around billions, $50-something billion. I mean, y'all talked about it. Their family members and their people that support them. That's all that Green New Deal stuff. I mean, we can talk for hours about all the political implications of all the money and who gets it. And by the way, the governor needs to go after all these NGOs. All this Democrat Party activism, all that stuff's funded. They fund their political operation through taxpayer money in the name of, midnight basketball and all these different groups that are supposedly out there pushing some kind of political agenda through the Democrat Party. We fund all that. I mean, that's another place where boatloads of money go. And we've been talking about it for years for getting rid of the Purple Social Club or whatever Democrat group it is that we fund in the name of trying to fix some kind of Democrat deal. It's time for the Republican Party to work for people to get up and go to work. Quit worrying about trying to help Democrats because you can't fix them. I mean, there's not enough money. God didn't print enough money to fix what ails Democrats. How about the Republican Party going to work for people to get up and go to work every day? That's what I want them to do.
Yeah, me and you both. I mean, I had to do it all my life. You did too.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. I mean, I'm tired of trying to fix Democrats. I mean, the first session is a crime session. Why do we have to have a crime session? Because Democrats can't control themselves. That's the reason we got to go to New Orleans and fix New Orleans because they keep voting for George Soros DAs and radical leftist mayors. And here we go. We call a special session to fix crime. Well, what you're really saying is you're not really fixing crime. You're trying to fix Democrats. You're trying to fix no daddies in the home. All the stuff, all the social stuff we talk about over and over about why we are where we are. And it's all about Democrats. Our schools, everything else is because when you remove Democrats from the equation in Louisiana, it's not so bad. Yeah. But every place you got lots of Democrats, you got a hellhole, and that's just the reality. Right. And wherever the politicians reflect those communities, and that's why New Orleans and Baton Rouge and Shreveport are unlivable hellholes.
Yeah. Party of filth.
Run them, and that's a fact.
Party of filth, party of hate. They destroy families. Yep. They destroy communities. They destroy parishes and cities. Eventually, they're going to destroy a whole country. That's what Democrats do.
And that's what time to quit playing ball with them and quit giving them committee chairmanships and quit thinking that you can make deals with them, because it's pointless. And that's why we sent you supermajorities. We got a governor and 2 supermajorities, and what are we arguing about? Whether we can get closed primaries passed. If we can't get the low-hanging fruit, then I'm trying to figure out what's the point. Why would you even want to go to Baton Rouge and be a political leader if you're not going to take some strong stands and get some things done? I don't understand, man. I mean, this ought to be this shouldn't even be an argument, this closed.
Oh, I agree with that.
This ought to be so easy to do.
But you got Psycho Bill and Rick Ward and them, and you got weak Republicans, especially in the Senate. If you don't pass this, it shows me, I don't know if we're going to change anything in this thing. Like I told you, Paul,
like you brought
I said, audit, you got to make some big changes. If you're not willing to take a big change on this, you think I'm going to count on you making a big change when it comes to taxes and it comes to insurance and things you got to do with radical reform with the tort system? I mean, this stuff ain't going to happen if you can't make this happen.
Well, what proves your point is the fraud squad bunch. It was over the budget. All of them wanting to spend all that money. Well, here we are, the first big issue that's important to conservatives. You can't count on the fraud squad. They're the ones out there pushing back on even doing this.
Yeah,
so
on a budget.
It transcends just the budget. It transcends every political idea we talk about on this show. They're gutless, and they sell us out every time on every issue. It wasn't just a spending, and we knew it wasn't just a spending. It was everything.
By the way, Paul, somebody wrote out after it was reported President Trump won every county in Iowa. Democrat shenanigans ensured. Now it's being reported that Johnson County in Iowa, which is Biden plus 40 country, flipped to Haley by 1 vote. The vote was from Democrats who showed up and switched their registration to Republican at the door to vote for Haley against Trump, proving my point that I just said. If they go vote, they're voting for the leftist candidate. They're voting for a Democrat, and that's what the Democrats do. They told their supporters to register Republican to vote for Nikki Haley. The idea was proposed by David.
Next Tuesday?
Yeah, it was proposed by Barack Insane Obama's campaign manager years ago, who's advising Nikki Haley. So there it is, proving my point.
Just know this. Yep. Next Tuesday when New Hampshire comes out, they do the same thing in New Hampshire. That's why it's going to be closer than it would be. If you only had Republicans voting in that primary, Trump would run away with that thing. But New Hampshire does the exact same thing they do in Iowa. They let independents and Democrats come declare Republicans. Since they're not having a primary, they're not even pretending to have it.
You know what? We don't have a Democrat primary in March. They don't even have one here.
Yeah.
They don't even have one. Is that disenfranchising? I read a bill yesterday on the Hill saying this is racism. This closed primary is racism because there's 200,000 blacks that are independent. There's 1 point something million registered voters. All the rest of them are white. So once again, they bring it up race and something that has nothing to do with race.
Well, anyway, and just understand this: the good old boy courthouse Bush Republicans, they're the ones that try to maintain this. Go read that stuff in Alaska with that insanity they do up there. If you think closed primaries, open primaries, and jungle primaries is crazy, go try to figure out what that mess is in Alaska, where you have that weighted election where you have
that's stupidity
elected that actually get less votes than the person that they beat because of the weighted primaries. You end up with Democrats getting elected and Republican status quo Bush Republicans push that mess.
It's how Murkowski won. She only won because of stupidity at the highest level in Alaska when it comes to voting. And they got people pushing that all over the country. It's sick. Here we go, Paul. Thanks for the call. By the way, Chicago area Tesla charging station lined with dead cars and freezing cold. A bunch of dead robots out here. Yes, despite Tesla's owners in and around Chicago seen trying to change their vehicles with no luck amid frigid temperatures that grip the Midwest. Charging stations has essentially turned into car graveyards in recent days as temperatures dropped to the negative double digits. Nothing, no juice, still on 0%. Been trying to recharge for 2 days, 3 hours a day, nothing. There you go with electric and green, folks. Stupidity. We'll take a break. The rest of you leaving us, God bless. Moongraphone.com. Listen live. You want to go another hour.
Closed primary elections, they work. Governor Jeff Landry, U.S. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, State Treasurer John Fleming, all first elected to Congress under tested closed primaries. And President Donald Trump, elected in a closed primary because all Louisiana